the person on the stage says that, but honestly, warm, heartfelt thank you for being here. There's a lot of people that couldn't be here tonight who made donations, so I'm thanking them too. But my name's Jake Spurgeon, and among other things, I'm Dylan's friend and his parapro. Basically, my job at school is to see to it that he gets around safely, that his work is enlarged. I work his camera for him, and basically I just kind of see to it that his middle school life is fun and as normal as possible. So before this, I graduated from Rheker College as a teacher, and almost right away I got hired in by L'Anse Creuse Public Schools as a permanent sub, and I did that for a long time. I was in a new building every day, in a new classroom every day, and I loved it, and that's where I got to know a couple of the kids in here today. So tonight we're here to talk about my buddy, my best buddy in the whole world, Dylan. So every time I was in the classroom with Dylan, this is when I was first meeting him before I worked with him, I didn't know how to treat him because obviously Dylan has a special case, and but as a teacher with 30 kids in the classroom, you have to treat them just like everybody else. But Dylan made that impossible because every question I would ask, he would either raise his hand or he would blurt out the answer. So he was so eager to learn that it was hard not to call on it. Yeah. So I'd been out of school for a few years, and I always wanted my own classroom, and it just wasn't happening. And I started to get frustrated, started to get impatient, and I even told somebody that if I never got a classroom, it would be the tragedy, the great tragedy of my life, you know. And I thought so at the time. Then one day I decided to just let things happen the way they were supposed to happen. Basically, I just put it into God's hands and said, hey, whatever I'm supposed to do, I'm good with that. So I continued enjoying my subbing jobs every day. I took it in stride when every year the list of open jobs in L'Anse Creuse became shorter and schools closed. But that's kind of where the stars collide in our story. At the beginning of last year, Dylan will remember this, my first subbing job came on the very first day of school, which anyone who works in the schools or is subbing knows that doesn't happen. Usually teachers don't take off until about the second week of school. So my wife and I, my wife who was also a permanent sub at the time, we were shocked, but we were thankful at the same time. That being said, both of us being substitute teachers, there was a lot of Septembers where we didn't have a paycheck because we both worked the same job and there just weren't any jobs. So I reported to Higgins that first day of school, and the secretaries were just as surprised to see me because they looked at their list. There were no teachers that had called in that day. But during the summer, Dylan's last aide had left, so there was nobody working with him, so they told me you can just hang out with Dylan that day. Went home, checked the computer, and there was a substitute job that opened up for Higgins. And again, I go in the next day, and they're shocked to see me. No teachers had called in, so I continued to work with Dylan. And it went on that way for a little while, and I don't think anyone had in their mind that this would be something they would want me to do permanently. Until one day, Jackie Johnston, the exiting superintendent for our school district, was making her yearly rounds, and she was walking down the hallway, and I told Dylan who was coming towards us, so when she introduced herself to Dylan, Dylan looked up to her and he said, I want Mr. S to be my aide full time. So she laughed, and I guess in so many words she just said that there was no better job recommendation than that. So that's how it went, right? We've been together ever since. Last two school years we've been together.
And I met you I saw you in that time zone that when you were putting the one up.
That's right, that was one of the first days of school.
Yeah.
So we've been together for the last 2 years, and every day's been a blessing. We've become best buddies, and I think that Dylan would probably agree. Sometimes Dylan puts the D in ADHD. Yeah. We do. This is the part of the evening where I wanted to take a few minutes to talk about what he and I call shenanigans.
Yeah.
Dylan is all boy, and
you are too.
Yeah, Mrs. S would probably agree that I'm like a 12-year-old boy myself. All right? We like to have a good time. Yeah. So, it wasn't a month before I started working with Dylan that the shenanigans began. Yeah. I took him to the bathroom, set his cane outside, I'm waiting for him, and next thing you know, I just hear, Mr. S. So I go in the bathroom, and he says, the stall's locked. So, elementary bathroom, I'm not getting on the floor to crawl under there and unlock the stall door. So, yes, you remember. So, I'm thinking on my feet, I used his cane, his walking cane, I put it over the door and I unlocked it. He thought it was cool.
Oh, and one day these little kids hit me.
Oh, I know. I don't want to talk about that. Those mean kids. So, a couple days later, the thing happens again, and he said, do you think I did it? And I said, Dylan, no, of course not. I said, in my mind, I'm thinking, these rotten kids locking the bathroom stalls. So a couple, maybe it was later that week, it happened again. And again, he asked me, Mr. S, do you think I did it? And I said, no. He said, are you sure you don't think I did it? So I said, Dylan, did you do it? He said, yes. So he had to tell his mom, and he always rats himself out. Tape, we love tape, don't we, Dylan?
Yeah.
Clear plastic tape. It's like the best toy ever invented. Dylan's arch nemesis is a girl in his 4th hour, and I don't know who started it. Maybe it was me, but it was you. I think so. But every day somebody was taping somebody else's stuff. Sometimes it was a binder. You know, you just put a couple pieces of tape where they can't see it, and the next time they pick up their binder and they go open it, they realize that they've been had. So throughout the year, everything got taped. Dylan's camera got taped, your books, library books.
But I took a mechanical pencil.
You did take her mechanical pencil. I don't think she ever got it back, did she? No. I mean, everything from the tips of their pencils, they would tape them so they couldn't even write. So this happened every day. Poor Mrs. Roscoff, she probably had to change out her tape dispenser once a week, but we had fun, didn't we?
Yeah.
So then there's the bathrooms. Now, Dylan, like every other kid, gets bored in school from time to time and has to go to the bathroom.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So if you've been inside MSE, you know that there's 2 ways in to the bathroom near the office. There's one in the hallway, and then there's one that goes into the auditorium.
I'm on my apron.
Yeah, we're going to get to that. So the one day, he says, we're coming from choir, he has to use the bathroom, so I take him to the hallway, I open the door for him, I set his cane outside, and I wait for him. And I was waiting for him, and then, still waiting, he thought it would be funny if he snuck out the auditoria door. He went through the cafe, made his way around the hallway, and finally peeked around the corner, and he saw me, and he started laughing at me. So, like usual, he always tries the same tricks all over again. So the next day, I caught you. You were running through the cafeteria, and I caught you that day. So another bathroom story, and there are a lot of bathroom stories, aren't there? Early on in the year, we realized that the 8th grade bathroom is not a pleasant place. Okay? Now, when I told Dylan about tonight, he asked, can we talk about poop and farts? And I said, Dylan, absolutely not. I said, people might not think that's as funny as you and I do. And he said, but it's our show. He has a good point. So, but we'll keep it PG, okay? So, the 8th grade bathroom, all right? Now, it's always been customary for me to follow Dylan into the bathroom, and I'll open the stall door for him. I haven't seen you in a long time. Nice to see you. So it's customary for me to open the stall doors for him, just to make sure the toilet seat is down and that it's clean. So, you know, there's 3 stalls in the 8th grade bathroom, so I opened the first one. You know, door number 1, clear. Door number 2, clear. And then door number 3, oh my gosh, right? Let's just say that 8th grade boys do not have very good bathroom etiquette. So, no matter where we're at in the school, and Dylan has to use the bathroom, it's always, can we use the 8th grade bathroom? Okay? Seems like every time we went in there was always something hidden behind either door number 1, number 2, or number 3. So eventually I had to cut him off because you really can't breathe in there. It's that bad. So one last funny story I want to share with you about our custodians. The poor ladies, they're a mother and daughter team, and Dylan gave them a lot of grief this year. In addition to their average vacuums, they also have riding vacuums. And Dylan was just, yeah, you were fascinated by that thing. No matter what class we were in, no matter what was going on in that class, if Dylan heard the hum of that motor, he stopped whatever he was doing, and he would listen for it to get closer and closer, until finally it would pass our door, and he would just get the biggest kick out of it. So he saw those custodians every day, and every day he would ask if he could ride it. So finally around Christmas time, they let him hop on and take a spin around the 7th grade hallway, and it was just a really big thrill for him. Now, it was probably their fault, leaving that vacuum unattended all the time, because we would walk by and it would just be begging for us to do something. So the first time we did it, we just hid the vacuum around the corner, just enough to where when the custodians came back, they would just go, hmm? And maybe wonder if they had maybe left it someplace else.
But one day I moved it and I unplugged it.
So, now eventually, Mrs. Christine, who's the younger, she's the daughter, she started to get in on it. So she started helping Dylan move Mom's vacuum. And Dylan would always find a harder spot to hide it every time, wouldn't you?
And then Cuba.
Yeah, the Kiva went everywhere. But one of my favorite stories is about one of the days we were walking to choir this time, and Miss Liz was vacuuming the floor, and she said something snappy like, "Haha, you can't steal my vacuum now because I'm using it." So we just kept on walking, and now this vacuum, I'm not even lying, it has like a 35-foot cord. So as we were walking away, we heard her shut it off, and we heard her start talking to somebody else.
No one plugged on.
So when we walked by the cord, Dylan reached down, yep, show what you did, unplugs it. So then we take off, and we just got around the corner, and she must have stepped on the power with her foot and thought, what's going on with this vent? And then she looked and probably saw the plug on the floor, and we just heard, Dylan! So, all the funny stuff aside, I want to talk a little bit about what most of us already know about Dylan. Despite all the challenges he faces, he always has a smile on his face and is ready to meet every day head on. Says hi to everybody he passes. He strives to get good grades, like we all wish our kids would. His goal was to not only make the honor roll, but to get all A's, which he almost did. And from the first week of school, his goal was to win the Award of Excellence. In a ceremony, you get to go there, you get honored by the principal. So that was his goal from day one, and he did it. The ceremony started, it was about 2 Mondays ago, and that was the day he was scheduled to be at St. Jude's Children's Hospital in Memphis, Tennessee, but the awards were just too important to him, so St. Jude's had to wait.
One extra day.
Just one extra day, that's right. So I stood with him that day and waited for his name to be called, and when they read his long list of accomplishments, I let him walk across that stage by himself. That was his accomplishment, and he deserved to make that walk on his own.
I was standing there, and I was never like, and I was like, I can't talk. I couldn't talk at the moment. In the moment.
So it's been a wonderful ride with Dylan, but we're not done just yet. We keep fighting, keep going. And there were a few times this year where Dylan would say to me, if my vision ever comes back, and then, finish the sentence. And I think to myself, what are the chances of that? With me, nothing's impossible. But I seriously, every time he said it, I think to myself, what are the chances of that? But now here we are. All right. Dylan's mom and dad are very honest with him. They're very open with him about his health and keep him updated with his current conditions. And we know, and he knows right now that his brain tumors are inoperable. So while you and I can't do anything about his brain tumors, we can do something about his eyesight. So Dylan's family and I would like to thank you for being here tonight, and all the people who donated and couldn't be here. And also, they're not here, but her niece is here. Miss Gina and Miss Debbie, who, when I came to them with this idea a few weeks ago, things had to come together really quickly, and I really needed people to be on board with what was happening. I talked to her on the phone for the first time, told her Dylan's story, and she said, by the way, we're gonna open up the hall for free. There's gonna be no charge. And she was enlisting, you know, all the ladies from her neighborhood, and even asked me if she could bake something for tonight. And I told her she's already cleaned the whole place. So I said, no, we're fine, thank you. So we want to thank them. People who made food donations, water donations tonight. Hopefully someday soon, Dylan will be able to look out and see us looking back at him and see just how much he means to us. So I'm going to ask the adults in the audience, who had a childhood dream? I think I know I did. Can you remember it? What was yours? Wanted to act. Did it happen? Good. Good.
I always wanted to be a teacher.
Teacher, we know that happened. What about you?
Police officer.
Police officer.
And then came true. I didn't know paper.
I know, it came true. It might come true when you get older too.
Yep.
So, I remember as a kid I wanted to be a professional baseball player. And I just never grew, so that didn't happen. And then I always knew I wanted to be a teacher. So worked hard, spent a lot of money. I made that happen. I never did get my own classroom, but I got my degree. And I also wanted to be a writer. I wrote from the time I was little. I always loved to write stories. You know, I had some poetry published in high school. Never gave up on that dream. And I don't know, there's some kids in here that could probably tell you. I've shared some of my, I started to write picture books, and I would have good stories, and I taught myself how to paint. And I thought that was supposed to happen for me. And just like teaching, there were no teaching jobs open, just like with the book writing, it just didn't happen. And I told you a few years ago, I gave up trying to control what happens to me in life, especially since I met this one. Yeah, you realize that no matter what your dreams are, you can work as hard as you want, and I encourage that. Any kids in here, no matter what your dreams are, whatever you want to be when you grow up, I encourage you, work hard at it. Do your best. Try your hardest to achieve that goal. But in my case, I said earlier that I thought it would be the great tragedy of my life if I never got my own classroom. And how foolish that was, because it was actually my failure to get a classroom that helped me hook up with this guy. Okay, so work hard at your dreams, but if they don't come true, be willing to accept what does come along, because sometimes that's way better than what you were dreaming of in the first place. So that'd be my advice to you. So one last story I'd like to tell about Dylan, and I'm going to let him say whatever he wants to say. He's going to tell a couple of jokes. Dylan has already begun thinking about college. Okay, he'll say to me, "Are you going to be my aide when I'm in college?" And I say, "Well, heck yeah." I said, "I'll be there." I said, "Whatever you're taking, I'm taking. Okay, I'll get a new degree." Okay, and then I also tell him I don't know how Mrs. S will feel about me moving back into the dorms, but I'll ask. I can ask. All right. So thank you again for coming. Dylan's going to tell a couple of jokes, and then we'll be glad to get some pictures. If you haven't made a donation yet, you can do that. If you haven't had your book signed, we can do that for you too. Oh, tell some raccoon stories. What do you want to say to people? Would you like to thank them for coming very much?
Thank you for coming out tonight.
That's all you got? This kid never stops talking. Never stops talking. And you get the microphone in front of you. That's it? That's all you got? Okay. All right. So we're going to tell, some jokes. You got any good ones?
Yeah.
Who's on first?
No.
Okay. We haven't perfected that one yet. How about let's do the old men. This is our impression of two old men who are both hard of hearing. Okay? So who goes first? You go first?
It's windy.
No, it's Thursday.
Me too. Let's go get a drink.
Got nothing to say, we're good. Okay, we got one more joke and then we'll start the music, and then we'll let you guys go to the bathroom, eat, go wherever you need to go. If you guys got to be someplace, that's awesome.
What did the baby corn say to the mama corn?
This is good. Repeat that.
What did the baby corn say to the mama corn?
Any guesses?
Where's popcorn?
Where's popcorn? So again, thank you everyone for coming. Appreciate it. Feel free to have more snacks. Take some home with you, so I don't have to take them home with me. Bathrooms back there by the exit.